Hi, welcome to this look at the Platinum Jubilee weekend weather prospects. I'll be covering the full period, so Thursday the 2nd until Sunday the 5th of June. I'm going to add a caveat immediately, which is that I'm filming this 8 days before the start of the period. That is an awfully long time when it comes to the UK's weather, so things could still change significantly. With that said, I'll begin by taking a look at some of the deterministic computer model output, GFS. This is a global model and the chart is for 15 GMT, Thursday the 2nd. It shows high pressure having a good deal of influence over the UK, always a good sign. If we step through the individual charts for the 4-day period, on the left, temperatures, and on the right, precipitation. Thursday the 2nd here, there are some showers around across the north and west. Temperatures, maximums around 20-21 Celsius, not too bad. Going forwards to Friday, the showers have become more widespread and they probably will be heavier, according to this computer model data at least. Temperatures are similar, 22 in the southeast being about the maximum. The showers now have migrated and the heaviest ones are in southern and eastern Britain. Saturday the 4th, a mainly dry picture. Temperatures again into the low 20s Celsius. Very pleasant if it is correct. Finally, from the GFS, Sunday the 5th, the possibility of rain in the far northwest. Elsewhere though, it's dry and quite warm. Temperatures up to around 21 Celsius, 70 Fahrenheit. And GFS has a tendency to undershoot maximums a little bit, so if it had the general pattern correct, perhaps we could see 22 or even 23 in one or two locations. Next up, the Canadian model. It only goes out to 10 days, so Thursday the 2nd and Friday the 3rd is the outer reach of it. This shows high pressure also have an influence over the UK. It looks a little bit more mixed though, low pressure systems perhaps coming into the mix further down the line, although as I say, this run finishes on Friday, so it would be second guessing how things would be developing through Saturday and Sunday. But the charts for Thursday first, a few showers there in Northern Ireland and Northern Britain. Temperatures in southern and central regions widely into low 20s Celsius and mostly dry, very pleasant. Going forwards to Friday the 3rd, showers have become more widespread now. There are a few in Wales and southern England, but most of them are still focused on the north. Some heavy ones there showing up in Scotland. Temperatures similar once again, low 20s in the south, cooler as you head northwards. Next is the European ECM model, often considered the very best, the most reliable, but the differences between them are quite marginal. The downside though is that it has low pressure to the south of the UK, having quite a lot of influence. It's a more mixed picture, potentially at least, and do the charts reflect that? Well, here they are for Thursday the 2nd. Heavy showers in southern and central England, parts of Wales as well. Temperatures probably into the low 20s there in the south. So not too bad all in all, but the greater risk here of some heavy downpours in southern and central counties of Britain at least. Going forwards to Friday the 3rd, a similar story. There's some rain appearing in northern Scotland, quite light though according to this. Heavier showery bursts again in southern Britain. Cooler as well. Temperatures have generally dropped a little bit. So out of the three deterministic models, the ECM, probably the worst for the southern half of Britain. GFS, the best with the greater chance of it being mostly dry and warm. Well, the deterministic models that I've just run through only give a snapshot. They just present one solution at a given time. And when looking this far ahead, that's the accuracy of that type of forecast is very low in the UK. So it comes down often to looking at the Ensemble models. This is where the same computer model is run over and over again, many times. In the case of GEFS, it's 30. In the case of the European ECM, it's 50 plus a control run in each. What they do is tweak the starting conditions slightly on each of those runs to help account for uncertainty about the present state of the atmosphere. And then all the runs are put together. If they show a similar solution, there's a high degree of confidence in it being correct. If they go off in a wide range of different outcomes and generate a wide range of different outcomes, then confidence is much lower. So with that said, here's the GEFS data table showing forecast temperatures for London through the Jubilee period. Maximums look quite respectable. These columns represent 6-hour periods. So the highest ones often into the low 20s or 1 or 2 runs going higher. The reds there show 26 to 30, but most are in this orange bracket, which is 16 to 20 Celsius, and then a smaller number in the darker orange, the 21 to 25. Not much variance through the 4-day period. The days potentially quite warm, at least reasonably warm. Not very warm, but reasonable. Looking at the rainfall chart for London, again, these are stepped at 6-hour intervals. Light grey is indicating completely dry. Forecast from the model runs, dark grey shows light rain, and then the coloured shadings, the purples, the blues, the greens and the yellows, they all show heavier rain rates, higher rain rates. Doesn't look completely dry in the London area, southern England through this period, but it looks as though there will be good dry periods. It's difficult to be more specific from that because there is an ongoing risk of rain throughout, but at each given time slot, the chance of it is quite low, at least on most of the given time slots it is. Next is the 2-minute data table, temperature data table for Manchester. Values here a little bit lower than they were on the London one, but not terribly so. It looks quite respectable. 16s to 20s been very common, and a number of runs going into the 21 to 25 Celsius bucket there. Quite reasonable. Rainfall in Manchester, often perceived to be very wet as in the northwest of UK. That's not really the case on this chart. It's probably a little bit wetter than the London one, but not overly so. It may even be slightly drier on some of the time periods. Lots of light grey showing up. But again, I would summarise it in the same way. It's a London one and say that a good deal of dry weather, but probably not completely dry. Rain at times, at least a little bit. The data table showing temperatures for Newcastle. This time they are generally lower. There's a lot more of the yellows. Those are runs going for 11 to 15 Celsius. The oranges, 16 to 20 Celsius, are only making up around 20-30% of the totals. What that suggests is cooler conditions in northeastern England, and that really fits in quite well with the deterministic models which were suggesting that high pressure would probably be centred somewhere to the west, the northwest of the UK, and winds coming in from the east, the northeast. And so the lowest temperatures being in northeastern parts of Britain. Rainfall, though, on the Newcastle data table is a little bit different. Lots of light grey, lots of completely dry periods being shown here, possibly due to the lower temperatures leading to mostly overcast conditions with that northeasterly wind, less opportunity for showers to be bubbling up through the days. That's just speculation on my part. So cooler, but maybe drier in the northeast, a lower chance of it raining. Up to Glasgow to the northwest, temperatures again look quite reasonable. 16s to 20s, making up around 30 to 40% of the totals in these columns. Light yellows, the 11s to 15s also being quite prominent there. So cooler than in the south, but not too bad for the time of the year, given the location being further north in the UK. The rainfall forecasts for Glasgow, similar again. There's quite a lot of dark grey, light grey on a number of these columns, indicating the completely dry runs, but rainfall amounts showing up as well. It suggests that it will not be completely dry here either. A chance of some showery rain as we go through the 4 days. Right, well, one question to ask is there any chance of a heat wave given all that data that I've just gone through? People have been speculating about this. The quick answer to it is probably not. Never say never when it comes to the UK's weather, but the data here is showing that it's very unlikely, because this is the Jubilee period, June the 2nd to June the 6th, and each one of these lines is showing forecast maximum temperatures from a run in the European ECM Ensemble model. Very difficult to see, but there are 50 lines overlaying each other here. If I stand aside, what you can see is that the vertical scale shows maximum temperatures, 25 Celsius here. If I go across across the 25 Celsius line, there is only 1 or 2 runs possibly which are climbing above it through the Jubilee period, and they're only going slightly above it to about 26, 27. Therefore, no sign at all of a heat wave according to the ECM Ensemble during the Queen's Platinum Jubilee weekend holiday period. A few runs going higher than the low 20s, which I suggested was the most likely outcome, but only up to about the mid-20s, nothing approaching 30 Celsius, which I think would be categorised as hot in southern England at this time of the year. As I say, don't rule it out completely, because 8 days is almost an eternity when it comes to the UK's weather, so things can move on a lot in that time period, but the evidence suggests that a heat wave is extremely unlikely. So, to summarise, at the moment it's looking as though there will be a good deal of dry weather. In sunny spells it should be feeling pleasantly warm but not hot. Generally it's going to be cooler in the northeast and quite possibly cloudier there too. But it's important to remember that there is a risk of rain throughout the 4 days period, and I think most of the UK is unlikely to stay completely dry, but it probably will be drier than the average. Well, there we have it. On the whole, not looking too bad. A heat wave, very unlikely. Completely dry conditions, I don't think can be expected either, but a lot of usable weather seems to be what is on the cards according to the computer model data at the current time. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. If you did, then please remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons below. Thanks now, bye.